What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr Wargames, bringing you our 7th and final budget deck build for now. Now as you can see, you may be like, what's Infinity doing in there? Since the reprints it has dropped down to about £10, and then as I go through it you'll see that the main deck, so it's Dinomist, the main deck is well under like 10 to 15 quid easily, and then your extra deck balances back out at about £15, so you're hitting the £30 budget straight on, and Dinomist can still be a pain in the arse to deal with. So without further ado, crack straight on into the main deck. So you start off with, I've only got 2 Dinomist Rex. Now this card is really cheap, it might as well be 10p because of the reprints it's had in the Megatins. But yeah, it's a level 5, so it doesn't, it's a little bit harder to get out. Which is why I don't play with 3, because as I go through you'll see that you don't really want to be bricking with your high level Dinomists. But yeah, so you don't want to be bricking with your high level Dynamis. But you'll see you can easily bump this up to 3, there's no argument against that at all. So anyway, it's scale effect. Once while this card is in your pendulum zone, you can negate an activated card effect that targets another Dynamist cards you control, then destroy this card. So its scale is a bit of a protection effect, but it's mainly its on-field effects that you want to be going for. If this card attacks, at the end of the damage step, you can tribute one other Dynamist monster, then activate one of these effects. This card can make a second attack on an opponent's monster in a row, and if it attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. Or shuffle one card from your opponent's hand at random, or their side of the field, into the deck. Then this card gains 100 attack. So the attack is permanent. Next is 2 Dinomist Brachion. So it's pendulum scale. While this card is in your pendulum zone, while this card is in your pendulum zone, you can negate an activated card effect that targets another Dynamist card you control, then destroy this card. Its monster effect: if you do not control a Dinomist Brachion in your monster zone, and your opponent controls a monster that has the highest attack on the field, even if it's tied, you can special summon this card from your hand. So I've only got him at 2 because again you don't want to be bricking on your high level cards. You can easily drop this guy down to 1 and boost up your Rex, but I think 2's just about right. 2 Dinomist Ceratops. So its pendulum effect is scale 3. So I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure, but the scale 3s all have the same pendulum effect and the scale 6s all have the same pendulum effect. So, if another Dynamist card or cards you control would be destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can destroy this card instead. If all monsters you control are Dynamist monsters and none are Dynamist Ceratops, you can special summon this card from your hand. So, you know, the level 5s are kind of like Cyber Dragons, they're letting you special summon yourselves. 2 of the guy from Shiv, so 2 Spinos. If another Dynamist card or cards you control will destroy a battle or opponent's card effect, you can destroy this card instead. You can tribute one other Dynamist monster, then activate one of these effects. This card can attack your opponent directly this turn. This card can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. So Spino just lets you keep going for it, and then obviously it lets you attack directly just to whittle your opponent down. And then 3 Dynamist Plesios. Apologies if I got that wrong. So scale effect is again, it's the same. You can negate an activated card effect that targets another Dynamist card or cards you control, then destroy this card. Its monster effect is really good though. All face-on monsters your opponent controls is 100 attack and defense for each Dynamist card you control. So he helps just minimise your opponent's threat. 3 Dynamist Petron. If another Dynamist card you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, destroy this card instead. Monster effect: when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can add 1 Dynamist card from your deck to your hand. So here's your other level 4 and just keep pushing through. And then 3 of the new guy from Dark Illusions, 2 Dynamist Ankylos. Once while this card is in your pendulum zone, you can negate an activated card effect that targets another Dynamist. Banish any monster destroyed by battle with a Dynamist monster you control. So he's a really good, kind of like Dark Claw effect, but not as good or prominent. Then we have the Draco Slayer engine, so you've got 2 Master Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. Obviously it's pendulum effect, because it's a scale 3 it works quite well with this deck, not that you always use it in the scale at all. But while this card is in your pendulum zone, you can target one card in your pendulum zone and destroy it. It's vanilla card 1915. 1950 attack. Second one, 2 Lecter Pendulum, the Draco Overlord. Now obviously you can use Vector if you want to. These are relatively cheap as well, only about £1 or so, maybe less. So it's affecting the scale 5, so you don't really want to be putting this guy on your scale unless you absolutely have to. And negate the effects of face-up pendulum monsters while your opponent controls them. Monster effect, at the start of the damage step, if this card battles a pendulum monster, destroy both that monster and this card. And then 1 Luster, because we're only allowed 1. So it's your tuner, it lets you get into Ignistar. Now if you can play the Luster engine, you have to play it because Ignistar is just broken as heck. Once per turn, if this card is... sorry. If you have a card in your other pendulum zone, you can destroy that card, and if you do, add 1 card from your deck to your hand with the same name as this card. Again, it's a card you don't really want to be putting into your scales, but if you absolutely have to, you can. Cannot special summon fusion, synchro, or Xyz monsters using this card except Draco Slayer monsters. So that's it for the monster build. Again, really, really cheap because they're all commons. They've all been reprinted in the Megatins, all the Draco Slayer, not Draco Slayer, all the Dinomist stuff anyway. The other stuff's been reprinted in gold, so you can pick them up really, really cheaply. Now onto the spells. 3 Dinomist Charge. So when this card is activated, add 1 Dinomist monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, if a Dinomist card or cards is added from the field to your extra deck face up, add 1 of those cards to your hand. You can only activate 1 Dinomist Charge per turn. So if they pop your card, or if you use your card's effect in the scales, and you just get to add it back to your hand, so you can go again next turn. So 2 Dynamic Power Load, and 1 Terraforming just for deck thinning and helping out. All Dynamist monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. If a Dynamist monster you control battles, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. So it's a bit of an Armades field spell. 1 Dark Hole, easily bump up to 2 because it's cheaper than Regeki. 2 MSTs. Now previously, like I said, because of the reprints of Twin Twisters, you can put Twin Twisters in this. But with this build, obviously I've gone as cheap as possible so that we can use Infinity in the extra deck. 1 Draco Face Off, obviously that goes with your Draco engine. 1 Limiter Removal, just because all your monsters are machines apart from the Draco, so if you want to push the game with your, for example, your Rex, and your Rex can do piercing battle damage, flip limit removal, bang bang, good game. So that's it for all the spells. Now onto the traps. I play 3 Dinomist Rush. Now, special summon 1 Dinomist monster from your deck, and if you do, it is unaffected by other card effects. Also destroy it during the end phase. You can only activate 1 Dinomist Rush per turn, so it kind of helps you get around it. And if you have a Dinomist Charge, Dinomist Charge, sorry. If you have a Dinomist Charge, the card that gets destroyed comes back to your hand anyway, so it helps you search out and protect yourself. 2 Storm Mirror Force, because again, it's the next best Mirror Force in comparison to Quaking and Drowning that's cheap. 1 Solemn Warning, 1 Bottomless Track Hole. So that's all pretty straightforward in the Dinomist engine. It's a nice pendulum kind of deck. You can put, you can add the Counter Fairy engine because obviously Ariadnes are scale 3s, and it works quite well in the deck. However, it then means bumping up your counter trap count, which you don't really want to be doing. Okay, so we've got 1 Cyber Dragon Infinity. This is the money card of the deck. It's about £10, maybe a little bit less, maybe about £8. But because it's so cheap for the main deck, you can now spurge a little bit in the extra deck. 1 Nova, because without Nova you're not making Infinity. 1 number 61 Volcasaurus, because it's a rank 5 deck with a rank 4 engine as well, so you can pump this guy out really easily. Durandal, only a couple of quid, and it helps circle around your hands if you get a dead hand. 1 Magister Paladin, the Ascendant Draco Slayer, obviously to help you search out your pendulum cards in the end phase, and because you've got the Draco engine, you circle that around. Bahamut Shark. So this guy will be massive when the Tree Toad comes out in Invasion Vengeance, because obviously any deck that can make this guy, once per turn you detach 1 material from this card, especially on 1 rank 3 or lower water XYZ from your extra deck. This card cannot attack during for the rest of the turn. Who cares if this can't attack? If this card is bringing out Tree Toad in any rank 4 deck that can make a water monster, it doesn't matter. That Tree Toad doesn't need Xyz materials to negate spells. It is going to be busted when it comes out, especially with Bahamut Shark, so pick them up now because they are dirt cheap. 1 Castel, generic. So this is the generic 4 rank engine, so Abyss Dwellers. Obviously, because it's a water as well, or plus off of that, Gaga Cowboy, and then Ignista, because you can only have it at 1, but I play it at 1 because it is broken as hell. Such a good card, and it's really cheap in gold. And then 2 Dinosaur Power, the Mighty Draco Slayer. These just help protect your scales if you want them to. It's obviously got a really strong defense, and he's contact fused, so it's really easy to make him. Now, obviously, there are a couple of spaces in the extra deck. That's really down to personal preference. So you can then add a water target for this guy. If you want to be a little bit more extravagant, you can boost Infinity up a little bit. You can add in more rank 5s, or you can add in more rank 4s, whichever way you really want to take the deck. So the deck is relatively cheap. I would say that the extra deck, as it stands at this moment in time, including the free spaces that it's got, is £15 or less. I think Nova's really cheap. Everything apart from Infinity in this deck is really, really cheap. I think the main deck is, and again, it's an easy because of all the reprints. It's easily £10, £15 at a push. But if you've got a good friend, he can probably do your whole core really cheap. So yeah. And remember, today is the last day of our Mega Pack 2016 giveaway. So if you haven't done so already, please check out the link in the description below. Thursday the 8th of September, I'll be announcing the winners. Either way, thanks for all your support. Do not worry, this is not going to be our last competition. This is the start of many, many, many more. So don't worry about that. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do the whole 9 yards, do absolutely everything. We're nearly at 1,000 subscribers, and I'll be so happy as soon as we hit that landmark, especially being up for just under a year now. So again, thanks, and as always, happy dueling.